The galaxy had always watched humanity from afar, as if waiting for the day the small blue planet in the Sol system would finally prove itself worthy. For centuries, Earth had been treated as little more than a speck, its inhabitants nothing more than a passing curiosity to the advanced civilizations that dominated the cosmos. No one had ever taken humanity seriously. The aliens saw Earth as a developing species, unimportant, unremarkable. Even the powerful factions of the galaxy dismissed humans as too primitive to ever be a threat. But as the universe expanded, so did humanity's potential. The day Earth's true power would finally be revealed seemed distant, until it wasn't. Captain Alex Carter sat in the cockpit of the Vanguard, staring at the vastness of space outside his window. The ship was en route to the Outer Rim, a routine patrol mission in what humans called the forgotten edge of the galaxy. It was far from the bustling galactic centers, where humanity was often dismissed, its ships ignored by other species, its technology seen as inferior. Alex, like most humans, had grown up hearing stories of the great alien empires, tales of the infinite power that alien civilizations wielded with ease. As the ship glided silently through the void, Alex leaned back in his seat, tapping a rhythm with his fingers on the console. The low hum of the Vanguard's engines was a steady, soothing sound, one that Alex had grown accustomed to over the years. The crew was quiet, all of them focused on the mission, unaware that today would mark the moment everything changed for humanity. The comm system buzzed. "Captain, we're approaching the coordinates. Should I initiate scanning protocols?" Sarah Moore, the ship's navigator, asked. Her voice was steady, calm, professional. "Go ahead, Sarah," Alex replied. He pushed the thoughts of grandeur and heroism from his mind. He had a job to do. The thought of aliens, whether friendly or hostile, was not something he dwelled on during the mission. It was far too easy to imagine themselves as tiny, insignificant players in a universe that didn't care about them. Sarah's fingers danced across the controls as the ship's sensors lit up with an array of data. "It's odd, Captain. I'm picking up a signal, but it's encrypted. It doesn't match any known alien communications patterns." Alex raised an eyebrow, a flicker of curiosity piercing through his otherwise stoic demeanor. "Can you decipher it?" "I'm trying, but the encryption is too complex. It's beyond anything we've encountered." Alex stood up from his chair, walking over to the station. "Keep at it. Let's see what's out there. We don't want any surprises." He looked at the stars outside, the faint glitter of distant galaxies. The quiet, endless beauty of space always filled him with awe, and for a moment, he let himself relax, absorbing the serenity. He never thought it would be broken. The minutes passed, each second stretching into eternity. The tension in the cockpit began to build, the silence growing more oppressive with each passing moment. Alex's mind kept circling back to the strange signal Sarah had found. It gnawed at him. It wasn't just an ordinary transmission. Someone, or something, was trying to communicate. "Captain, I've made a breakthrough," Sarah said, her voice now tinged with urgency. It's a distress signal. From the Galactic Alliance. A ship is in trouble, and it's requesting emergency assistance. The coordinates match a region known for being under alien control." The words hit Alex like a cold wave. The alien empire that controlled that region had always been hostile toward humanity. No one, not even the bravest or most seasoned human diplomat, had ever dared approach their territories. To hear that an Alliance ship, possibly an enemy, was in distress was a startling revelation. "Can you get a visual?" Alex asked, feeling the unease rising in his chest. Sarah didn't answer immediately. Her fingers flew over the console, eyes flicking back and forth between multiple screens. The seconds felt like an eternity, the anticipation thick in the air. Then the screen flashed to life, showing a chaotic mess of flickering images. Alex squinted at the holographic projection, trying to make sense of what he was seeing. The image finally stabilized. An alien ship, massive in size and gleaming with a polished silver hue, was drifting through space. It looked damaged, crushed, even like it had been through an intense battle. Its energy signatures were fluctuating wildly. There was something about it that felt wrong. It was supposed to be a symbol of alien power, yet here it was, crippled and vulnerable. "Captain, this ship. It's a Dominion vessel," Sarah murmured, her voice laced with disbelief. "The Dominion's one of the most powerful forces in the galaxy. This isn't supposed to happen." Alex frowned. "What's the status of its distress call?" "Unclear," Sarah replied, shaking her head. "But there's a problem. The signal. It's not just a distress call. It's a trap." Before Alex could respond, the comm system crackled to life. The voice that emerged was distorted, static-heavy, but still recognizably alien. "This is Captain Arkham of the Dominion fleet. To the ship monitoring this frequency, heed our words. The galaxy will soon know that humanity's time has come." Alex's blood ran cold. The voice, full of threat and bitterness, sent a shiver down his spine. "The Dominion? Are they aware we've intercepted their signal?" he asked, his thoughts racing. He had heard the rumors. Whispers of the Dominion, a galactic empire that crushed any species that dared defy them. But the notion of humanity's involvement had never crossed his mind. Sarah's face went pale. "No, Captain. They're aware of us now. And they've sent a message to the rest of the galaxy. It's a warning. Humanity has been pretending to be insignificant, but today the galaxy will see our true power." Alex's breath caught in his throat. He realized, in that moment, that the quiet, so serene, so full of peace, was about to be shattered. He felt a deep sense of foreboding, knowing the storm that was approaching would forever change humanity's place in the universe. The silence of space had been broken, but it wasn't the sound of an alien fleet or a single explosion that shook Alex. It was the reality of what was about to happen. Humanity had been living in the shadows, avoiding conflict and playing it safe. But now, they had no choice but to fight. As the comm system hummed with more distorted voices, Alex's thoughts raced. Could they even stand a chance? The Dominion was known for its unmatched technology, its relentless expansion across the galaxy. What would humanity do when faced with a force like that? But as Alex looked at the trembling faces of his crew, his friends, he felt something deep inside him stir, something that had been buried under years of submission. He wasn't just afraid anymore. He felt something new, resolve. He turned to Sarah, his face hardening with determination. "We're not backing down. Humanity has always been underestimated. Today, we'll show them the true power of Earth." The sound of static crackled across the comm system, the distorted voice of Captain Arkham ringing in Alex's ears. "Humanity has been pretending to be insignificant, but today, the galaxy will see our true power." Alex Carter's eyes narrowed, his pulse quickening. The Dominion had just announced their knowledge of humanity. Their time to strike had arrived. The calm silence of space that had comforted him moments ago was now replaced by a creeping sense of danger. The threat loomed, and with it, the realization that humanity was no longer a minor player in the grand game of the cosmos. "We need to act fast," Alex said, turning to Sarah Moore, the ship's navigator. Her eyes were wide, her face pale as she stared at the flickering display. "Captain, they're not just coming for us. The Dominion is planning to make an example of Earth. They've been watching us, learning about our weaknesses, and now they believe they can finally conquer us," Sarah said, her voice trembling. "But we have no way of knowing their full intentions." Alex gritted his teeth. The Dominion's fleet was powerful, capable of reducing entire civilizations to ashes. But in the back of his mind, a spark of defiance flared. Humanity had been underestimated for far too long. The entire galaxy had viewed them as insignificant, a species still too primitive to compete with the advanced empires that dominated the stars. But Alex knew something the Dominion didn't. He knew the true potential of humanity. He knew their strength. It wasn't in their weapons, their technology, or their sheer numbers. It was in their resolve. It was in their unyielding spirit, their ability to adapt, and most importantly, their boundless ingenuity. Humanity had survived against all odds before, on Earth, in space, in the face of countless challenges. And now, they would show the galaxy that they were capable of far more than anyone had ever realized. The Vanguard streaked through space, its engines a soft hum in the vast expanse. Alex stood before the ship's main console, his fingers flying over the controls, pulling up data on the Dominion's fleet. Their ships were unlike anything humanity had ever faced, sleek and powerful, armed with energy weapons that could tear through any defense. But what they didn't know was that Alex had been preparing for this moment his entire life. He had been working with humanity's best engineers, scientists, and military tacticians to build something that would give them an edge, something that could stand up to even the most advanced technology. The Vanguard was a part of it. The human fleet, though small, was equipped with new experimental energy weapons designed to channel human ingenuity into something truly formidable. It wasn't about fighting the Dominion with strength alone. It was about using their own arrogance against them. The Vanguard had been equipped with technology that could manipulate energy on a level that even the Dominion's finest minds couldn't have predicted. "We've got one shot at this," Alex muttered under his breath. "Let's make it count." "Captain," Sarah said, her voice tight, "we've detected the Dominion fleet, heading directly for Earth. They're preparing for a full-scale assault." Alex stood, staring at the holographic display, watching as the vast fleet moved steadily through space, its warships resembling a dark cloud against the backdrop of distant stars. The fleet was vast, and their intentions were clear. They believed this was their moment of triumph, that they would finally crush humanity's resistance. But Alex knew better. Humanity had faced impossible odds before and survived. This time would be no different. As the Vanguard approached the outer edges of Earth's atmosphere, the crew began to prepare for the coming fight. The atmosphere in the ship was tense, everyone knowing what was at stake. But amidst the tension, there was an unspoken understanding. They were going to fight, not because they thought they could win, but because they had no other choice. The fate of Earth hung in the balance. Alex stood in the ship's command center, speaking to his crew. "We've been underestimated, all of us. For too long, the galaxy has seen us as weak, fragile. But they don't know us. They don't know what humanity is capable of. It's time to show them." A cheer rippled through the crew, their spirits lifted by Alex's words. They were ready. The crew had been training for this day, preparing for a fight they knew they had to win. They weren't just fighting for survival. They were fighting for their place in the galaxy. And they weren't going to let anyone, especially the Dominion, take that from them. The first shots rang out as the Dominion fleet arrived in Earth's orbit. The massive warships opened fire, their energy blasts tearing through space. Alex watched from the command center as the Vanguard dodged the incoming fire, evading the first wave of attacks with surprising agility. "Shields at 90%, Sarah called out, her eyes glued to her station. Energy levels holding steady. Alex gritted his teeth. They couldn't afford to take much more damage. The Dominion was relentless, their weapons devastating. But the Vanguard had a trick up its sleeve. It wasn't just about surviving the first few attacks. It was about turning the tables. "Now, Sarah, activate the energy weapon," Alex ordered. Sarah's fingers flew over the console, and the Vanguard's energy core began to glow brightly. The ship's systems hummed as the weapon powered up. It was a human-made weapon, using alien technology to amplify energy to levels never before seen in the galaxy. "Target the lead Dominion ship," Alex commanded. The Vanguard's weapons fired, a bright beam of energy shooting through space. It struck the lead Dominion ship dead on, and for a moment, the space around them seemed to freeze. Then, the Dominion ship exploded, its massive form disintegrating into debris. A cheer erupted from the crew. "We did it," Sarah whispered, disbelief in her voice. But Alex's mind was already moving to the next target. The first blow had landed, but the battle wasn't over. Not by a long shot. "We've only just begun," Alex said, his voice hard with determination. "Keep moving. They won't stop until they've wiped us out. Let's show them what happens when they underestimate humanity." The battle raged on, and Alex watched as humanity's strength began to shine through. The Vanguard and the rest of the human fleet fought back with everything they had, using every trick in their arsenal. They weren't as advanced as the Dominion, but they were resourceful, adaptive, and relentless. One by one, the Dominion ships fell, their shields unable to withstand the human energy weapons. The Dominion fleet, once so confident in its power, began to retreat, unable to cope with the intensity of humanity's resistance. But the Dominion wasn't done yet. They were learning. And as they retreated, they sent a final message, their words laced with venom. "Humanity's strength is fleeting. You will not survive the galaxy's true power." But Alex smiled. He knew better. Humanity wasn't just surviving. They were winning. They weren't just fighting for survival anymore. They were fighting for the future of their species. And with every alien ship that fell, humanity's place in the galaxy became a little clearer. As the battle ended, the Vanguard and the other human ships stood victorious in Earth's orbit. The Dominion had retreated, leaving Earth standing. Humanity had shown the galaxy its true power, and in doing so, they had earned their place among the stars. Alex stood before his crew, his heart swelling with pride. "We did it," he said, his voice steady. "We've shown the galaxy what humanity is capable of. They'll never underestimate us again." The crew cheered, and for the first time in their lives, they knew that humanity had finally stepped into its true power. The galaxy had always underestimated humanity. For centuries, the great empires of the cosmos viewed Earth as nothing more than a speck in the vastness of space, its inhabitants weak and fragile compared to the towering alien civilizations. But today, the universe would learn a harsh truth. Humanity had always been playing a different game. Captain Alex Carter stood at the helm of the Vanguard, his eyes focused on the shimmering holographic map of the battlefield unfolding in front of him. The Dominion fleet, once confident in its superiority, was now reeling from the first unexpected strike of humanity's might. Alex had watched as their lead ship disintegrated in a blast of human-made energy weapons. The sudden destruction had shaken the Dominion, but the true test was still ahead. Humanity's victory was far from certain. The Dominion, though reeling, wasn't about to back down. They were the galaxy's most formidable military force, and their retreat was not an act of surrender. It was a chance to regroup, to come at humanity with full force. The war was just beginning. "Sarah, report," Alex said, turning to his navigator, who was working feverishly at her console. The battle was growing in intensity with every passing second. "Captain, the Dominion is regathering. Their reinforcements are incoming, and they're deploying their strongest ships." "We've barely scratched the surface," Sarah replied, her voice calm but strained. "We need more time to recharge the weapon systems." Alex nodded grimly. "We don't have more time. This battle ends today, one way or another." The Vanguard moved swiftly through space, dodging the energy blasts from the Dominion ships. Alex's crew, now seasoned after countless hours of battle, coordinated perfectly. Their human ingenuity had given them the edge so far, but the Dominion's relentless assault was beginning to wear them down. The Vanguard was fast, agile, and packed with new experimental weapons, but it wasn't indestructible. Alex knew the Vanguard couldn't hold out forever, not against the full might of the Dominion. The human fleet, although small compared to the Dominion's, was fiercely determined. Alex glanced at the battle status. His ship was one of the few that had survived the initial assault, but the enemy had adapted quickly, launching a wave of attacks designed to overwhelm the human forces. "Hold steady, everyone," Alex shouted over the comms, trying to rally his crew. We've faced worse odds and come out on top. We're not losing now." The crew responded with a roar of approval, their spirits lifted by Alex's determination. Sarah and the weapons officer, Jace, moved in sync, coordinating evasive maneuvers while launching another round of energy blasts. Every shot fired counted. Every move they made was a matter of survival. The Dominion ships had regrouped, now forming a near-impenetrable line of defense. They were more organized, more prepared. Their weapons were powerful, each strike carrying the weight of thousands of years of advanced alien technology. But Alex wasn't worried. Humanity had its own hidden advantage: resilience and the will to fight. On the Vanguard's bridge, the AI, known simply as Echo, offered its analysis. "Captain, I've detected a weakness in the Dominion's formation. Their ships are heavily shielded, but they are vulnerable to concentrated energy bursts. We need to target their weak points." Alex's mind raced as he formulated a plan. The time for playing defense was over. Humanity had spent too long hiding behind the veil of insignificance. Now was the time to show the galaxy that they could fight, that they could take on the biggest and the best, and still stand tall. "Jace, focus all fire on the lead Dominion ship. Sarah, get us into position. We need to break their formation before they overwhelm us," Alex ordered. Jace's hands danced across his console as the Vanguard's weapons powered up. "Target locked," he called out. "Ready to fire." "Do it," Alex commanded, his voice low and steady. The Vanguard unleashed a concentrated beam of energy, and for the briefest moment, time seemed to stand still. The beam cut through space, striking the lead Dominion ship with overwhelming force. The ship's shields faltered for a split second, then collapsed entirely. The energy blast ripped through its hull, and the Dominion ship exploded in a brilliant flash, sending debris and sparks flying into the void of space. The crew erupted in cheers, but Alex remained focused. "Don't celebrate yet," he warned. "We've only just started." The Dominion, furious and stunned by the loss of their flagship, retaliated with overwhelming force. Thousands of smaller ships emerged from their larger war vessels, swarming toward the human fleet like a swarm of angry hornets. Their weapons were devastating. Laser beams and energy pulses rained down upon the human ships, causing massive damage. The Vanguard rocked violently as a blast struck its side, throwing Alex against his seat. "Shields at 45%, Sarah called out, her voice tight with the strain of their evasive maneuvers. "We can't keep this up much longer, Captain." Alex's mind raced. They needed a new strategy, and fast. He glanced over at the control panel, noting the blinking alerts indicating power levels on the verge of critical. The human fleet was losing ships. One by one, they were being picked off by the Dominion's relentless assault. Alex's heart clenched as he realized the gravity of the situation. He was on the brink of losing everything. But then, the idea came to him. He knew what they had to do. He didn't have time to explain to the crew. It was a long shot, but it was their only chance. "Sarah, take us in. Full speed ahead, right into their central formation," Alex commanded, his voice cutting through the chaos. "What?" Sarah asked, stunned by the order. "That's suicide." "Will be." "We don't have a choice," Alex interrupted. "Trust me. Just do it." Without waiting for further discussion, Sarah locked in the coordinates and punched the throttle. The Vanguard shot forward, dodging more incoming fire, heading straight for the heart of the Dominion fleet. The human fleet followed suit, the remaining ships rallying under Alex's leadership, breaking away from their defensive lines and charging toward the heart of the enemy formation. The Dominion, initially caught off guard by the bold maneuver, began to react, sending waves of smaller ships to intercept. But Alex had something else in mind. As the Vanguard closed in on the heart of the enemy fleet, Jace triggered the ship's final weapon. The human-made energy pulse detonated from the Vanguard's core, releasing a shockwave of energy that tore through the Dominion ships in a massive radius. The blast disabled dozens of smaller vessels, scattering the larger warships and sending them spiraling out of control. In the chaos, Alex gave the final order. Now, all ships focus fire on their central command vessel. We need to take out their leadership. The remaining human ships unleashed their combined firepower on the Dominion command ship, their beams cutting through the damaged fleet. The Vanguard's weapon systems, still holding on, fired relentlessly, targeting the central command ship with unrelenting precision. The Dominion flagship, once proud and powerful, faltered. Its shields collapsed, its engines sputtered, and within moments, it exploded in a burst of light that consumed the remaining alien ships in the area. The last of the Dominion fleet had been shattered. The silence that followed was deafening. The battle was over. Humanity had survived. Alex let out a long breath, his eyes locked on the shattered remains of the Dominion fleet drifting through space. The Vanguard was heavily damaged, but still functional. The human fleet, battered but unbowed, had won the day. The crew, exhausted but elated, erupted into cheers. They had done the impossible. They had fought the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known, and won. As the crew began to celebrate, Alex stood at the bridge, staring out into the vastness of space. His thoughts were heavy. This victory was not just a moment of triumph. It was the beginning of a new era for humanity. The galaxy would never underestimate Earth again. Humanity had shown the universe that it wasn't just a fledgling species struggling for survival. It was a force to be reckoned with. They had revealed their true power to the galaxy, and the galaxy would have to adjust. "Captain," Sarah said, her voice soft but resolute. "We did it. We showed them." Alex turned to her, his face grim. "This is just the beginning. There's still a long way to go, but we've proven we can fight, and that's all we need." The crew nodded in agreement, their spirits lifted by the victory, and the realization that humanity's place in the galaxy had just been forever altered. As the Vanguard drifted away from the wreckage of the Dominion fleet, Alex Carter knew one thing for certain: humanity's struggle was far from over. But today, they had taken their first step toward being more than just survivors. Today, humanity had revealed its true power. The silence after the battle was deafening. The Dominion fleet, once an unstoppable force, was now scattered across the void of space, the remnants of their mighty ships drifting like lifeless husks. The Vanguard and the remaining human ships hovered over the field of debris, battered and scarred from the fierce struggle, but victorious. Alex Carter stood at the bridge of the Vanguard, his hands gripped tightly around the console, staring out at the wreckage. His mind raced. They had done it. Against all odds, humanity had defeated one of the most powerful empires in the galaxy. His crew, his friends, had fought with everything they had, and it had paid off. "Captain," Sarah Moore's voice broke through his thoughts. She stood next to him, her face grim but proud. "We did it. The Dominion fleet is gone." Alex's eyes flickered over to her, his expression hardening. "Not all of them," he muttered under his breath. He knew they had defeated the immediate threat, but something gnawed at him. The Dominion was vast. This couldn't be the end. Suddenly, the comm system buzzed to life, cutting through the stillness of the bridge. The voice that came through was distorted, unfamiliar, and filled with static. "This is High Commander Xyros of the Dominion Command. To the human fleet that destroyed our forces, listen closely. You have won, but only for now. What you do not realize is that your victory comes at a terrible cost. You have angered forces far beyond your understanding, and the galaxy is not yet ready for humanity's true power." Alex's stomach twisted. He had been expecting this, knew in his gut that the Dominion wouldn't just back down and slink away. But hearing the High Commander's words still struck him with cold realization. "Commander Xyros," Alex began, his voice steady, "you've underestimated humanity for the last time. We are ready. We've already shown the galaxy what we can do, and we'll keep fighting." The transmission crackled and fizzled, the alien's voice now cold and distant. You will not survive what comes next. Humanity has awakened something ancient, something much more dangerous than us. Your victory will be short-lived. The transmission ended, leaving the crew in stunned silence. Alex's heart raced. What was Tyros talking about? What could be worse than the Dominion itself? A chill ran down his spine as the weight of the alien's words sank in. The crew quickly gathered around the table in the war room. Tension filled the air as they exchanged uncertain glances. Alex paced back and forth, his mind working furiously. The Dominion was clearly planning something catastrophic. The words of High Commander Zyros echoed in his mind, like a warning. "Captain, you've seen it too, haven't you?" Sarah asked quietly. The Dominion wasn't just protecting themselves. They were holding something back. Alex nodded. They've provoked something bigger than they are, something ancient. The Dominion's retreat, it wasn't because they couldn't win. It's because they knew what they were facing. And now, that threat is ours to face as well. Should we prepare for another attack? Jace, the weapons officer, asked, his voice filled with concern. Alex turned to face him, his eyes steely. We've already won the battle, but now we need to prepare for what's coming next. We need to find out what this ancient force is, and we need to be ready for it. Just as Alex finished speaking, the ship's sensors beeped, an incoming message. It wasn't from the Dominion. It wasn't even from a known alien race. The signal was coming from the far reaches of the galaxy, beyond their usual scanning range. Alex felt his pulse quicken. Could this be the ancient force that Xyros had warned about? Patch it through, Alex ordered. The screen flickered, and an image appeared. A being, unlike anything Alex had ever seen, stood before him. Its form was vaguely humanoid, but its features were distorted, alien in every sense. Its eyes glowed with an ethereal light, and it spoke in a voice that resonated with an unnatural power. Humanity. The voice echoed. You have awakened what should have remained forgotten. The battle you fought was nothing more than a prelude. The true reckoning is now upon you. Your victory will be your undoing. The alien paused, its glowing eyes narrowing. You have gained the attention of the Intergalactic Council, a force older than any empire you know. The Dominion was but a servant. The real power is beyond comprehension. Prepare yourselves, for you have now set in motion an unstoppable chain of events. Before Alex could respond, the transmission cut off, leaving a sense of foreboding in its wake. The crew stood in stunned silence, absorbing the weight of the alien's words. Humanity had awakened something ancient, something that now had its eyes on Earth. The next few hours passed in a blur of activity. The human fleet scrambled to assess the situation, using every tool at their disposal to analyze the mysterious message and determine the nature of the threat that had just been revealed. Alex couldn't shake the feeling that they were in over their heads. The Intergalactic Council, an ancient and seemingly omnipotent force, it felt like a bad dream. Humanity had fought and triumphed against the Dominion, but now the real challenge had arrived, and they had no idea what to expect. Then, a startling realization hit Alex. The first battle, the one they had won, had been the test. The Dominion had been the guard dog, keeping them at bay, ensuring they wouldn't discover the greater threat. And now that humanity had proven itself capable, they had become the target. As the human fleet prepared for the worst, an unexpected signal arrived, this time from an unfamiliar source. It was a message, but it wasn't from the Intergalactic Council. It wasn't even a threat. It was a plea for help. Alex's eyes widened as the message played. A figure appeared on the screen, this time human. A group of humans, trapped in a remote system far from Earth, had made contact. Their voice was shaky, filled with desperation. We need help. The Dominion was just the beginning. They've awoken something far worse than we imagined. If anyone hears this, Earth, humanity, we're begging you. Please, don't let them take us." The transmission was cut off suddenly, but not before Alex saw something that made his stomach churn. Behind the human figure, an enormous ship, far larger than anything Alex had ever seen, loomed in the distance. It was an intergalactic council ship, and it was heading toward Earth. Alex's heart pounded. The intergalactic council wasn't just a myth. It was real, and it was coming for Earth. "We have to act fast," Alex said, his voice grim. "Get me a direct line to the fleet commanders. We need to prepare for an all-out defense. If they're coming, we won't back down." The crew worked with a renewed sense of urgency. They had won the first battle, but now they had to face an even greater challenge, one that threatened not just humanity's survival, but the survival of every living being on Earth. The minutes turned into hours, and as the human fleet assembled around Earth, they prepared for a fight they had never expected. They didn't know what the Intergalactic Council wanted, but Alex knew one thing: humanity wasn't going to go down without a fight. The Council had miscalculated one thing: they had underestimated humanity's strength. The first ship appeared in Earth's orbit, a colossal craft, its size dwarfing anything humanity had ever seen. It radiated power, its mere presence sending waves of fear through the fleet. But Alex knew that this was humanity's moment. They weren't just going to survive. They were going to show the galaxy who they were. The battle began. But something unexpected happened. As the massive ship moved closer to Earth, the fleet commanders received a new transmission. It was from the very ship that had just arrived. The message was brief, but it sent a chill down Alex's spine. "Humanity, we have been watching you. You have proven yourselves worthy. The Council no longer sees you as a threat, but as an ally. Your victory has not gone unnoticed." The words hung in the air, impossible to comprehend. The battle had been won, not through force, but through humanity's sheer strength and resilience. The Intergalactic Council, the ancient force that had threatened to destroy them, had now seen humanity's potential and recognized it. Humanity had done the impossible. They had defeated the Dominion, and in doing so, they had earned their place among the stars.